So do you think you were possessed?
Oh, I know it was because the priest, he said that he laid hands on me and the head of a bull came out of my chest, out of my stomach. There was a lot of weird stuff going on in that room at the time, like chairs were moving around because there was a bunch of people in there that were getting baptized and there was a lot of tongues being spoken. When you open up the doors to the dark, they're not going to wait to be invited in. They're coming. If I believe in God, then I have to believe in the devil.
What is it that got you sober? I mean, why did you...
I was in Texas and I'd hurt my arm really bad. And I was talking to this pastor and he goes, "Man, you need the Lord, Dave." And I went, "No, I don't. I've had enough, God." So he goes, "Why don't you go up onto the hill?" Up on the hill was a fire ring and there was two sections of building that went together like this and it had a cross hanging down in the middle of it. Of course, I was brought up a Jehovah's Witness. The cross was a torture device, and Jesus wasn't hung on a cross. He was hung on a tree, blah, 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 all this stuff that they believed that I don't. So I'm looking at the cross, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, what have I got to lose? And those 6 simple words set me on my road to a new lifestyle and new existence, because I went down the hill, and I told the little pastor, I said, "Yeah, man, I think I want to try this." I just was up there and I said, "What have I got to lose?" And he goes, "Okay, well, let's do the sinner's prayer." And he goes, "Get down on your knees." And I said, "Nope. We need to get on your knees to do the sinner's prayer." "Nope, not doing it. Not praying on my knees. I'll say the prayer, but I'm not getting on my knees." And I did the prayer. I didn't get down on my knees. And I just couldn't bring myself to that place yet. I was not at that place yet. I mean, I prayed all the time because I thought that was what you're supposed to do, but the sinner's prayer, what is that? I don't know if I like the sound of that. So we did it, and I told my wife, and she started laughing and said her friends knew that was going to happen, and you know, from that point on, it was you know, just a series of learning stuff, learning how to coexist with other people that may or may not be enlightened, you know. So many sayings that I learned growing up, like walking a mile in another man's shoes. You know, you think, what the hell does that mean? And then something like that happens where your life changes. Mm-hmm. Something that's been a part of your existence every day. I was telling somebody the other day that when we lived in Silver Lake, California, David Ellison would come into my bedroom every morning. Well, not every morning. He would come into my bedroom and he would have a mirror. And he would give it to me. And we were off to the races. So it's kind of how we lived. It was just, I didn't know any better.
What brought you to the pastor specifically?
My arm injury.
Your arm injury?
Yeah.
Is this about the same time that you stopped doing... I mean, I read that you stopped doing witchcraft around 30. Sounds like it went on for about 15 years.
That ended way before that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. You know, I think about it all the time. Whenever somebody pisses me off, I think, man, no, I won't. You know, I've actually, when my sister was alive, I called her up a few times and talked to her, and she talked me out of it a few times because I was at the end of my rope, and I knew it worked, so, but didn't do it.
It sounds like you were in some, I think you described it as a satanic depression.
No, oppression. It was like a possession, not depression, like having a spirit on you.
How so?
Well, when you open up the doors to the dark, they're not going to wait to be invited in. They're coming, right? And if I believe in God, then I have to believe in the devil, right? And I believe in God. I believe in Christ. I believe in the devil. I believe they're demons. I believe they're angels. Still don't know what the real estate looks like up in heavens, but you know, I've got a pretty good understanding of a lot of that stuff, and I don't know, stuff that happens when you get really drugged out. A lot of times, you start to do really unnatural things. Because you're on drugs. Well, why wouldn't you? You're not yourself. You either have liquor in you, which is called spirits for a reason, or you're on stuff that's like an opiate, which makes you think everybody's your friend, and or you smoke pot and you're paranoid of everybody, or you take sedatives, which for some people they need them. They need them to be able to not wear the people out around them. And other people need stimulants, like children who have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. But when somebody starts grinding pharmaceutical speed because they like it, it's kind of what meth is.
So do you think you were possessed?
Oh, I know it was, because we tried to get my life in order, and stuff just kept happening, and we would go see people who were spiritual in nature, and they would say that they see something. The priest that was in, we went to go see I forgot, I told Darren all this stuff too. We had been talking about what had happened, Pam and I, and I said that I wanted to get rid of this. So we went to this person. Her name was, I think it was Caroline somebody, and her husband was a Green Bay Packer football player, so I thought it was legit. And she was a doctor, so she would do these kind of clearing things. And she had this Indian guy that was a Raja come over. He was like a priest that did laying on hands, cupping, acupuncture. And so he came over, and he said, when he was doing the acupuncture on me, he was meditating behind me, and he fell over. And he said that there was a man with a silver turban that came out and said, "I release him." And that's when he fell over. When we went to San Francisco to go see the Filipino priest, he said that he laid hands on me, and the head of a bull came out of my chest, out of my stomach. He said,
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I don't know what the fuck happened. But, in the spirit world, I don't know if I would see it, because I don't know if I have that gifting to see the demons. But, he had said the same thing. So there were several people that had nothing in common that knew that there was something going on with me. And finally it broke. And, I remember getting baptized at some place in Northridge, California, and somebody, and this is freaky, somebody had said that there was a lot of weird stuff going on in that room at the time, like chairs were moving around, because there was a bunch of people in there that were getting baptized, and there was a lot of tongues being spoken and stuff. I didn't see any of that stuff, so I got to see it myself to believe it. But, that's what I heard was going on in there. And I was thinking, man, that's pretty cool, because if this whole God thing's real and I live my life like there is a God, then I'm not going to regret it.
Have you ever seen anything
Demons
supernatural?
Like a demon?
Anything?
Not in the physical. Visions, yeah, but not in the physical.
I'm excited to introduce to you the newest member of my family. We call him Stanley. We got Stanley this past Christmas, and pretty quickly my focus became making sure he was safe while still giving him the freedom to actually be a dog. I went looking for the top-rated GPS fence, the #1, and that's how I found Spot On. Stanley wears their Nova collar. With Spot On, I set up a GPS fence for Stanley right on my phone. No physical fence, no leash. I just walk my property line or draw it on the map, and that's the boundary the collar recognizes. I can create multiple fences, save them, and adjust them whenever I need to. So whether we're at home or traveling, Stanley always knows where his boundaries are. Another thing that stood out to me is these collars are designed right here in the USA and assembled in New Hampshire by a team that's been working with high-precision GPS technology for years. And you can tell a lot of attention went into making this thing reliable. The Nova collar uses a dual-band GPS system connected to more than 150 satellites. Along with an antenna, that's over 5 times larger than typical GPS fence collars. That keeps the boundary accurate, even around trees, terrain, and changing conditions. Spot On's true location technology has been independently tested and delivers 99.3% containment, which matters when you're trusting something with your dog's safety. It's incredibly durable, and on top of that, I can check his location in real time, send voice commands directly to the collar, and track his activity through the day. I use Spot On so Stanley gets the freedom to run and explore, and I get the peace of mind knowing he's safe. Let your dog roam with Spot On. Go to spotonfence.com/SRS and use code SRS for $50 off the Nova collar. That's spotonfence.com/SRS and use code SRS for $50 off.
But, you do too. You say you have dreams.
Oh, I've had several occurrences where I've experienced things, not necessarily seen, but heard or...
Walk into a room that's really cold all of a sudden.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of stuff like that. We have a song we wrote about some young girl named Mary Jane Twilliger who was a witch, and her dad found out, and he buried her alive. And this was in the city right north of where Ellefson lived. And we went out there to go visit that place, and it was creepy. It was really creepy. But that was it. It was just creepy. I didn't hear any owls. The wind didn't blow. I did hear, and this could be another bit of folklore, but somebody pushed her headstone over, and when they went back to their car, they found their car keys on the hood.
Shit's wild, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild. We had, I've had a bunch of these experiences. One of them, I was interviewing a friend of mine, priest, his name's Father Dan Rehill. He's an exorcist. And I remember when he came in here, he was like, look, he's like, weird shit happens when I start talking about this stuff. He's like, the cameras might go out, who knows what. And he was talking about exorcisms. And then he brought up Christ, and the AC unit right there just went on full blast, like immediately, just started whooshing. I mean, I've had a bunch of these experiences, but
that's awesome.
It's made me realize how real the spiritual realm is.
It's real.
And, just to move on a little further, I mean, at some point, after you found Christ again, you quit singing. You quit performing certain songs. What songs were those?
And it was only because I didn't really know I knew what I was singing about, but from a spiritual point of view, I didn't really know if I wanted to sing it anymore, because one of the songs had almost all of the hex in it that I used, and I didn't want to sing that anymore because, what happens if somebody figures out the rest of the stuff that's missing? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen anything, but I know stuff happens to me. I know people have put curses on me. I know that they've cursed our dogs. We had a dog who died, and I prayed over her, and she came back to life long enough for us to get her to the veterinarian, where she said goodbye to us all. And she passed away there, but she was dead. Pam was hysterical, and I said, let me pray over her. So,
who put curses on you?
People that don't like what I sing about, people that don't like Megadeth, that may like other bands. There was a guy in the past, there was a band called Diaseed, and we were playing in Israel, and I was really excited about playing in Israel, and I wanted to see what Megadeth looked like in Israeli font, right? So I look at the website for the festival, and it says the name of the thing, and it says our name, and then it says this band Diaseed. And I went, what is that? So I looked it up, and the guy said that he's a Satanist, and that I was his mortal enemy.
Are you serious?
Yes. And he'd already killed 2 people.
No matter where you're watching the Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this at all, anything, please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, head to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a review.